All right, I'm so excited to share with you my latest modification to the Model Y. I got the automatic Frunk opener. So this modification is going to allow the Frunk to open and close automatically. All you got to do is press a button. You can use the screen, you can use your phone app, and then if it's already open, you can close it with the emergency button that's inside of the Frunk, which is pretty cool. This installation overall took an hour and a half with filming, so there was a lot of moving cameras around. It always takes more time to film what you're doing, so I would say no more than an hour to do this modification. It's super easy. There are a couple of tools that will help, but even without special tools, a flathead screwdriver is about all you need. So you're going to need a couple of sockets and a wrench and a pair of pliers as well. So that's about all you really need, and you can install this kit. Super easy, like I said. Now, when you order this on Hanssshow's website, if you use code BTG, you'll save 15%. So it's about $500 for the kit, and you'll save about 75 bucks off of that. So about $425. So it's not the cheapest kit to install, but we installed it just before our last road trip, and it was really awesome to have. We actually used the Frunk for the most important items. So every stop or every hotel, whatever, we have to get out items from the Frunk. So having this means we use it a lot. Plus, if you're traveling with a cooler and you put it in the Frunk with the Frunk cooler, which is really cool, that also works really well with this new modification. So I'm very excited about it. I've been looking forward to getting this for a long time. The update to this kit is now on version like 4, and this new one is waterproof, so you don't have to put the module in any kind of wrap. You don't have to worry about waterproofing or anything like that. So now you can just leave it in there. Nothing special that you have to do. So anyways, with that said, an hour to do, about 425 bucks. You can also get a kick sensor that will lay right underneath the car, so you can actually kick under there and it'll open and close, which is another way to open and close it. I wish I would have gotten that sensor, but I do not have it. Probably going to go ahead and add that because that would just add more convenience to it. So really excited to show this to you. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to install it. Super easy, and like I said, it took about an hour and a half with filming, so plan about an hour to do this. Not hard at all. So all right, of course, starting from inside the car, here's the first way you can open and close it. Just press the open button and you'll see it open, which is so awesome. And then if we want to close it, just go ahead and press the open button again and it'll close. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is remove this top panel, and it's just held in place by a number of clips across the top and bottom. So just go ahead and lift up, and then we're going to place this all the way over to the side. Next, we need to remove the pan of the Frunk, and to do this, there's 4 bolts, 2 here in the front, and then there's going to be 2, of course, down deep into the pan. And then, of course, once you've removed these 4 bolts, just go ahead and leave them in the pan for when you remove it. Now, on the inside, the panel that holds the emergency release is just held in by 3 clips at the top, and it's kind of placed in at the bottom. Remove that and then take the clip out. Now, we need to remove the 5th bolt that's holding in the Frunk, and that is here over by the washing fluid. Just go ahead and lift it up at this point and pull it straight out and place it to the side. Now, the first thing we need to do is remove these shocks here on the hood. Make sure you have the hood propped up by a piece of wood or whatever, but these spring clips here at the bottom are what you need to pull out so that you can remove these from their mounting position. You can also use a flathead screwdriver. Either one works just fine, and you should be able to push these out once you get that spring released. Next, we're going to remove this bolt way down low, and you're going to need to use a wrench to do this. And once you do get this loose, it will be able to come out with your finger, just removing it the rest of the way. Once that's been removed, you can place in this new bracket, which comes with a new bolt as well, and a washer. So we're going to get this finger tight as much as you can. On the passenger side, you have a lot more room to work with than you do on the driver's side. I recommend getting a 90-degree Allen wrench to do this. For the passenger side, you will be able to fit a screwdriver to be able to do this, but on the driver's side, you will not. So once that's installed, we're going to take the new shocks, and the part with the electrical running in through it is at the bottom. So we're just going to push this in place, and those spring clips will allow it to attach. Then repeat that process on the top. I used my head to push the hood open just a little bit more to give me space. Now for this step of the process, what I'm doing here is marking the location of the bracket for the latch. That's so when I go to put this back on, I can get this as close to where it's at today as possible, less adjusting later. Just remove these 2 bolts and it should release the entire latch. Alright, once those are removed, we can place this down and remove this connector right here. Alright, once this connector is removed, we can place the module approximately where it's going to go, and then bring the bracket over and go ahead and place it onto the latch assembly, just so you can get a feel for how this is going to mount. This little tab here needs to go into the pin, and you just need to release that spring by hand. It's not super tight and you won't hurt yourself, just go gently. Once you get that in place, go ahead and get a pair of pliers and you can reattach this spring right here by just twisting it right over to where the mounting spot is. Alright, now once that is done, we're going to go ahead and reattach this entire assembly. So go ahead and place it up, and we're going to go ahead and just put these bolts together. They do come with a spacer and a washer, so go ahead and get these started, finger tight, no more than that. So now we're going back and we're trying to line this up as best as possible with those marks we did with the Sharpie, get it as close to a line. Now we're going to lower the hood manually, and what you're trying to do here is take a look and make sure that the latch is centered in that V shape. Once it's centered, you can go ahead and make some adjustments as needed, so then you can tighten this down pretty good. But don't worry, we will very likely be going back and making adjustments later. I certainly did 2 or 3 times before I got the hood just right. Next, bring the wiring harness in, and you'll see a lot of duplicate harnesses that are just tap-ins. We're going to unplug and connect everything. It's going to be pretty straightforward. Match up the connectors, and that's where you're going to tap in. Of course, don't forget to lock these in place for all the ones that have a lock. Next, we're going to go ahead and plug in the module. So now that that's done, we need to feed the wires to the springs. Go ahead and plug those in, and then we're going to attach the whole module to this thing. And again, this one is waterproof, so you don't need to worry about wrapping it after you've plugged it in. Finally, go ahead and run up the positive and negative wires up towards the battery area. Go ahead and loosen your negative side, and then you're going to place the ground onto the negative side of the battery. Once that's on, go ahead and tighten it, of course. Now, of course, we're going to repeat the same process for the positive side. Now, of course, I shouldn't have to say this, but just in case, just be careful when using a ratchet on the positive terminal. There is technically quite a bit of metal right around where that ratchet is, so you don't want to arc weld this. That won't be fun. Just be careful doing this part.
All right, now that we've got everything plugged in, this is kind of how I have it set up. I've zip tied everywhere that I can just to keep the wires from moving around. Trying to tuck things away. This existing harness does not allow the module to mount up by the battery like the older versions. So you're actually going to mount the module down here at the bottom. And again, 2 zip ties, and I hooked it up onto anything that I could. Same thing for all these wires. Next, we're going to test this out. So get your button and plug it in. So once this is plugged in, we should be able to press the button and make sure it's operating properly. And it's going to give us our first look at how aligned it is. And you can see there's some adjustment needed. So once you've done all your final adjustments, go ahead and put the front tub back in place. Be careful when installing this. On the sides, these clips are a little bit unique, and getting it just right can take a little bit of time, so just be patient with it. But once you get it in place, go ahead and reinstall the bolts that are for the front and inside the front, and as well as that 5th one over by the washer nozzle. Don't forget about that 5th one. Now once those are all finger tight, go ahead and tighten those down all the way. We will not be pulling this back out. What I'm reaching for now is that wire to plug in the emergency release for the front. So go ahead and dig in there, grab it, plug it back in, and reinstall this panel. Now the top clips, they are a little finicky, so you do have to put a little bit of pressure on it to get those 3 clips back in place. Once that's done, go ahead and replace that top trim piece. And again, that's just a number of clips across the top and bottom of this piece. So just push it in place till you hear it click. And once that's all in place, go ahead and press that button one more time. Make sure it closes properly. Make sure there's no issues with alignment. And once that's all done, just keep testing it out. Try the screen, try your app, make sure everything's working properly. And that's pretty much it.
So anyways, that's how it works. It's super cool. You can open it with the screen here in the car, on the app, and then of course the button inside of the frunk as well. And then if you get the kick sensor, that's the 3rd way that you can open and close it. So I am very excited about this. There's actually a couple of accessories in this car that I think don't get enough credit. This is one of those items that once you have it, you're like, this thing's amazing. I really do like this. So if you've been considering this or seen other videos of people having this modification, I'm telling you, it's pretty cool. Again, $500 minus 15% with code BTG, but well worth it in my opinion if you're looking at things to add onto the vehicle. So that's it. It's going to take you about an hour to do this install. I really hope that this video helped for those of you who are on the fence or considering it, or maybe even haven't even thought about this yet, but this should have given you enough insight and a look at what's it like to install this. Is it hard? Is it easy? And then now that you can see us using it, is it something that's going to be practical for you to have? It's certainly up to you to decide. Don't forget, code BTG, you'll save 15% on Hanssshow's website. The link is in the description. So make sure that you order it there. I recommend going ahead and get the kick sensor as well. I'm going to add that later. There is a plug on the existing harness to just tap into. So I'm going to go ahead and add that because I think it would be convenient if your hands are full and you don't have to get the app out or have to go into the car and open it there. So we'll add the kick sensor. I recommend that you do the same. I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it the thumbs up. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram @BeardedTesla. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.